The Black Bottom neighborhood, an area on the Near East Side of Detroit, Michigan, got its name from the rich marsh soils it was built on. Throughout the 1800s and early 1900s, it was a vibrant and predominantly Black community that grew to a population of 100,000 people. Kids played on quiet side streets, jazz music floated on a breeze from the local record store, and independent community shops, from the barber shop to the neighborhood grocer, always had a steady stream of customers. In the evenings, adults frequented the vibrant entertainment district for live music. For many years, the town was an ideal place to live. Then, one day in the early 1960s, the city of Detroit sent out eviction letters. These notices gave 30 days for thousands of homeowners and 300 Black-owned businesses to vacate. City leaders wanted to demolish the town to create a new highway system. But looking back today, activists like Deborah Archer argue that leaders used this and other projects as an excuse to remove African Americans.
I think far too often we think that highways took blighted neighborhoods because that's the narrative, right? Highways were part of this focus on urban revitalization and focused on removing blight. But the way that we defined blight had a racial lens to it. And we targeted Black communities and said that they were blighted when in fact they were vibrant communities central to life for the many people who live there.
Archer is the president of the American Civil Liberties Union and is a professor of law at the New York University School of Law. She's also the faculty director of the Community Equity Initiative and is the author of Dividing Lines: How Transportation Infrastructure Reinforces Racial Inequality. Although Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 ended racial segregation in public places, Archer says city leaders still racially discriminated and segregated under the cover of urban renewal.
We have all these amazing and powerful, beautifully written civil rights laws, but the racialization of transportation infrastructure in so many ways shows the limits of those laws because it's easier to change a discriminatory law than it is to tear down a highway or to tear down a bridge once set up.
During the mid-1900s, city planners that were tasked with constructing new highways and bridges across the U.S. built on areas where property was cheap. This was usually where people of color lived as a consequence of redlining, a now illegal practice that discriminated against minorities by disproportionately denying them access to loans or insurance to buy property. While it's impossible to fully right these wrongs, Archer says there's still an opportunity to make some amends.
The way to address this is to address it head on, to have real and honest conversations about how our communities got the way that they are, to have real and honest conversations about the disproportionate impact that our transportation infrastructure is having, that we continue to ask communities of color to bear all of the negative impacts, right? The destroying homes and businesses, the impact on air quality and on noise, and then allow those folks to enjoy fewer of the benefits. So we have to focus on more distributional equality.
The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act of 2021 was a bipartisan effort passed by Congress to address some of these issues. Through this initiative, divided communities are being reconnected by modern engineering and planning. One such example is the reconstruction of the Interstate 65 I-70 interchange in Indianapolis. The Indiana Department of Transportation has teamed up with the Rethink Coalition of Indianapolis for the project. Brenda Freege is president and CEO of the Rethink Coalition and explains how getting to this point took time in itself.
Rethink Coalition made a pretty big shift from protest group to now collaborative leader, and that has made all the difference for us. We knew being a protest group was important to begin with. That was the only voice we had at the moment. But we eventually got a seat at the table in conversations and discussions. We formed as a nonprofit, and we've taken on this role of really trying to bring all the voices together, all the stakeholders, all the decision makers, so that everyone's aware of what the vision, the overarching vision is for downtown.
Right now, most of the highways in Indianapolis are elevated and expansive. These wide roadways are an eyesore that block out nature and reduce walkability. FreeG says the goal is to create new recessed highways that run lower in the ground and are less obstructive. This new highway would open up 65 to 70 new acres of land that would be transformed into parks and tree-lined connecting walkways.
Really focusing on what happens if you compress the footprint, you push it down below grade. Right now it's all elevated. Push it down below grade, start building land bridges over the top to reconnect everything. So it's a slow process, but there's momentum. And, we're planning for the next 50 years. So it takes a while to get all the pieces to come together, but we're seeing real progress.
And Indianapolis isn't alone. Other places have recognized the need to reconnect neighborhoods that were abruptly split apart by transportation infrastructure. Cities like Boston, Minneapolis-St. Paul, Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio, and Dallas. While funding for infrastructure investment and revitalization may be impacted by future government funding cuts, Archer still remains optimistic.
I am hopeful because when you look at all that we have accomplished, all that we have done to get to where we are, there's only reasons to be hopeful that we can continue to push forward together, support each other, and make this country more equitable, more just for everyone.
Deborah Archer's book, Dividing Lines: How Transportation Infrastructure Reinforces Racial Inequality, is available now online and can be requested through your local bookstore. This segment was written and produced by Polly Hansen. Our executive producer is Amira Zaveri. Our studio manager is Jason Dickey. I'm Marty Peterson.